WSU Tech officially breaking ground on the expansion of the National Center for Aviation Training today. Of those in attendance, Senator Jerry Moran. Moran took the opportunity to talk about the new facility and the upcoming merger between Spirit and Boeing, focusing on the importance of the merger not only for the business but for the entire state of Kansas.
And we want to make sure that people feel comfortable with that, and we want to make certain that that Boeing knows we're going to do everything we can to make sure they have success here, because I want them to bring more business than we currently have with Boeing to the state of Kansas.
The deal between the two companies still needs approval from both the Federal Trade Commission and the United Kingdom before it can be finalized. Check